Oh, we don't have a little thing now. There we go. Hey there. We're live.
What's up?
We're doing some technical stuff here. Trying to
Very,
get this.
very technical.
Trying to hook up the what do they call it? Bluetooth.
Yep.
And
So
it's
that way
not
you can
doing that.
control it.
So today we're going to be talking about all the fun things to see and do in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul.
Yeah.
And we've got two different perspectives on it. My perspective will be coming from a no child male, and Casey will be coming at it from a family man with a herd.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Unfortunately, I never remember the names of the places that I go to.
This might have dead batteries, but anyways, we might not even need it.
Yeah, maybe we don't need it.
I'll have to come up and
We'll do all right with that.
Figure out a different way of doing it. So there's all sorts of different places, and this is something that's always been fascinating to me. I mean, you've probably heard of Can Can Wonderland.
Oh, yeah. Can Can Wonderland. Whereas what I said is I think that would be really hard with kids because it's so crowded.
Right.
And I've got 7 kids. So there's 4 kids I have to keep a really close eye on. And that would be really difficult at Can Can Wonderland. It's always crowded. There's always a bunch of people, and you have like basically little pathways to walk through. So it makes it a little hard.
Yeah, you got to tie them all together, and if you do that, they get tied around somebody else that's running through there.
Then they end up clotheslining people. Yep.
And
as we hear kids screaming down the hall.
Yeah.
Not my kids.
That's right. He's got his own. They're a little more quiet. But you probably didn't even hear that because of the technology behind all this stuff. It kind of cuts out background noises.
Yep.
Wonderful that way. So I've been in the event industry a lot, and a lot of people don't realize that there's a lot of things that you can do at things like the Minnesota Zoo. They've got the tram, and you can actually rent time on the tram to do a event. Some people don't know that kind of stuff. They don't think creatively like that.
That's cool.
But that's the advantage of going to some of these events. I mentioned to Casey earlier before we got online that I'm going to the Minneapolis Convention Center because the Convention Center Meet Minneapolis is hosting a speaker showcase. It's being sponsored by G.L. Berg, he's one of the only entertainment agents around anymore. There used to be a lot of them, but the internet kind of cut out the middleman. But he does a lot of like college bookings and stuff. And there's a magician friend of mine, Tim Gabrielson, that is going to be showcasing there. So I don't know why I said that. I think I was just bragging that I've been around.
You got to throw in the name drop.
Yeah. Well, I was a member of the Minneapolis Convention Bureau. It used to be called the GMCVA, which was Greater Minneapolis Convention and Visitors Association. So it wasn't a bureau because that's different certification or something. I'm not sure, regulation or some of that stuff. But their mission is to fill the convention center and the surrounding hotels, and their second tier is all the restaurants. So it's all hospitality and bringing things into Minneapolis. So when you see the Final Four or the Super Bowl or all that stuff, Minneapolis and St. Paul are working together to get them to come to the Twin Cities, because that brings a lot of money into the Twin Cities when a big ta-da happens.
Sure.
And the World's Fair was going to be here. They were going to do it down in Bloomington.
Yeah.
But they never got it. It went somewhere else. But I rejoined that organization, and I used to be a member of that. And it was pretty cool because you get this big book, this big calendar of all the events coming to town. It's like 7 years out, so you can plan. But there's a lot going on in Minneapolis. A lot of people don't realize it. It's kind of a small city. It's not it's not like Las Vegas or LA or even Chicago's kind of bigger than Minneapolis, isn't it?
My reaction whenever I first saw it, people were like, "Oh, how do you like our city?" I said, "Oh, it's a quaint little town," because I'm from Los Angeles, so of course it does feel that way.
Yeah, I took a trip out to New York. I went out to New York for I met someone, and I went out to see them during Christmas. And when I came back, Minneapolis looks teeny.
It really does.
It does look like a quaint little town.
Yeah.
But there's a lot that goes on here with all the 10,000 lakes. There's always something to do.
Yeah.
There's, you got the Timberwolves, and you got well, the Lakers used to be here, and they left. And what was that one? The North Stars from up here in the north went down to Dallas. That's kind of weird. That's a weird thing that sports teams do that.
They do. Yeah, I think it's really strange. They don't allow that in some countries. They're like, yeah, if you're going to be a part of the team, you actually have to be from the region.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it totally makes sense to me. Wouldn't Minnesota like? I think it would be much more fun to cheer on your guys if they were actually your guys.
Kind of like are the Packers like that? Probably not.
No,
but they're owned by the.
They don't have any sports teams where they require in the United States where they require you to be from the area.
It really should be, because you're not really showing your Minnesota talents.
Right.
You could bring everybody in from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then go Vikings, but you're not really Vikings.
There's a couple of sports that I'm thinking of in particular that literally require you to be born from there. Like you can't be born there and then move somewhere else and be like, oh yeah, so I'm a Californian now because I was born in Minnesota and now I'm living in California. Like they were like, no, you kind of have to be born from there.
I think you have to be a citizen.
Well, the way that's exactly the way they get around it, though, is they say that all these sports teams are local because the people move to where their sports teams are. But I don't agree. I don't agree with that, because then you end up with still the same exact problem that we have right now, where it's all about money, and they just keep.
I see what you're saying. So someone from out of state would come and they would actually live in Minneapolis.
They would move here. Yeah. If they moved here and they're moving here for the strict purpose
of
joining the sports team, they're not really Minnesotans. They're not really from the Twin Cities.
No.
They just are coming here for a job, just like anyone else with a job.
Right.
And then everybody's supposed to go, yay, that's Minnesota talent. No, it's not Minnesota talent. That's some foreign person. And I mean foreign as in from out of the state, not foreign from out of the country. Though we have some of that too.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really think about it that way. So it's always interesting to talk about these things. Yeah. It's not the focal topic, but it's interesting that if someone isn't, they could just move here because they could live anywhere.
They could live anywhere. They could live anywhere and they can do anything. Technically, if you live somewhere for 6 months and 1 day, you can have residency in that place.
Yeah.
So like, that means that they don't really even have to really live here. They travel so much, and then they just basically only have to be here half the year.
I know that happens if you want to go live in some place like Bali. You just got to go outside of Bali and you go hang out in China for a little while and come back, and you got like a visa situation. Yeah, there's always loopholes. I get that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting.
So what else is there to do around here? I know that you got kids and you end up going to like the YMCA, or is there other places, mini golf places or something?
There's some cool stuff that we like to do. So, well, I like to go hiking. So I like to go outdoors and I like to do hiking stuff. So that's some of the stuff that I like to do with the kids. William's finally getting old enough for me to be able to take him on real hikes.
Have you ever done like scavenger hunt type things that involves more people, or?
You know, I would probably like to get into that now that my son's a little bit older. I would probably like to do more of that. I have set up scavenger hunts for my kids before.
Yeah, we did
done
one
it
once.
In the mall.
We did one. It wasn't for the kids. It was actually a singles club that I was involved with, not as a single, but more because they did activities.
Yeah.
And they did a scavenger hunt where you drove to different parks.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had little clues and you went to these different places. And there was a place down in Bloomington or something like that where you're walking through the park and you're supposed to go to this tree and you take a right and you get the little note, and then you go down these stairs and there's a barbecue grill and the message is in the barbecue grill. And the question is, how many steps did you just walk down? There was 111 steps that they walked. That was kind of fun making that together. But I was just thinking that'd be a cool thing to have for people in the business world, the event industry specifically. Yeah. Be a scavenger hunt going around and seeing the different, I don't know, brew pubs or parks.
something. Yeah.
There's a lot of, like, when it's company picnic time, they have to rent space to host their company
Right.
picnics and stuff.
Yeah.
All those, what is that? I can't remember the name of the park system.
Three Rivers
Yeah,
Park
that's
District.
it. That's it. See?
Yeah. Speaking of Three Rivers Park District, that's one thing that I actually really like to do with my kids. Is that's a place that I've been there a few times, and I do like going there. I would definitely go there more often now that Alexander's older. Is Coon Rapids Dam?
Yeah.
Yeah, that place is cool. And during the main part of the year, they have like turtles and all kinds of stuff there for you to check out.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course they give you like a little pamphlet and you can go walk around, look for the animals. You know, you get to see the water going.
Mm-hmm.
You get to walk out onto the dam if you want. There's
Yeah, a lot
hiking
of,
through wetlands area.
A lot of parks are getting to be more community friendly with those splash pads and stuff in them, and the big giant pools and tubes. And there's a place up in Coon Rapids, Bunker Lake, has a wave pool
Mm-hmm.
where you can go in there and they make big waves and
Yeah.
making
Yeah, there's
waves.
one over in Maple Grove too. I'm trying to think of what the name of that park is. There's one in Maple Grove that's really cool. It's basically a giant, looks like a natural beach, but it's not. It's a man-made beach. And
Wow.
the cool thing about it is that you can go there with everybody and there's like, you know, lay out on the sand and go swimming, and because it's like set up naturally, all of it's all zero entry. So, you know, like it gradually gets more.
Right.
So I can go there with all the kids, and we all have different levels of fun depending on how much they can swim.
Sure.
So, you know, my 5-year-old can't quite swim yet. So my 5-year-old, you know, he'll go in until he has to stand on his tippy toes to be up to here.
Right. Yeah, I used to work for the county out of high school, and there's Lake George has a real low. I used to do handsprings in the water.
Oh, nice.
Splashing around.
Can he still do handsprings?
I doubt it. I probably can, but I would have to stretch out and work out, and I don't want to go breaking any bones. I'm brittle now. I could probably still kick too.
Do it.
I could still probably even do a backflip if I took some practice.
I think my hamstrings are too tight to do a proper kick to the head right now. So if I was kicking like that, I would probably end up pulling my lower leg out from underneath me.
I still stretch. I still stretch out and
Nice.
I work out and do yoga and stuff and keep myself flexible.
Yeah,
That's important.
it is super important,
So,
especially whenever you've been in the martial arts world.
Yeah, it's good to stay flexible. I think this is a little side thing, but it's important for event people to be healthy.
Yep.
I think stretching is one of the most important things that a person could do. It keeps your blood flowing and breaks up anything that might be clotting or plaquing or
I agree.
all that stuff. It keeps things moving.
Yep, stretching and a little bit of calisthenics
to keep your the blood pumping.
Yep.
Take the stairs.
Yep.
Burn up some calories.
I agree.
He agrees with me for change.
Yeah. So what else to do? You were asking. So I love doing go-karts with my kid.
You ever been to Lilliput?
No, but I have heard of it.
That's in Coon Rapids. Back when I was in my drinking days, we used to go there, and a friend of mine worked there, and we'd take the carts out.
Nice.
Shame on me. I don't know. I could be a troublemaker. But there was they got a Lilliput. They had mini golf, and then they had a go-kart track. Wow. And I think it's still there.
Cool.
What else is there? There's a virtual place in St. Louis Park, really close to here, kind of. It's called REM 5, and they do VR virtual reality stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think I told you about that.
I
rode a McLaren, and it seemed so real. I don't know. I've never been in a McLaren before.
Yeah.
A McLaren is a fast, expensive, exotic car. And then I put on the little goggles and stuff, and then I look, and I'm wearing a racer's suit with gloves and everything like that.
Oh, cool.
And driving it was scary. Whoa, because you start slipping because you're going fast. And it feels real because the cart is turning and stuff.
That's cool.
Bouncing. And when I got out, I was like, whoa. We'll have to go there sometime.
Yeah. That sounds like fun.
That's an interesting place. It's called REM 5, and it's a virtual reality place where they have like raves and stuff.
They called it a virtual rave, but actually it was actually a giant dance party with a live DJ and everything there. Yeah. And it was so loud in this tiny space. By the end of the night, though, I was like disoriented.
Well,
like,
the kids like that kind of stuff. I personally don't like loud music. I mean, I used to listen to it, but still, it's irritating to me.
I mean, I can handle it, but whenever you cram everybody in, that place can't be larger than 1,800 square feet.
Well, the upside with doing a private event is you can invite however many you want. So you can rent it out for 10 people, and now you keep it down to a minimum, and you can tell them, this is our private event, turn down the volume. So you're in control of that kind of stuff rather than a public type event.
Yeah.
There's also a thing that you might have saw me post it. My friend Doug Okar runs ComedySportz Twin Cities. And he's getting that back going again. They're doing it in Northeast Minneapolis, and they're also doing one over here. I think it's in Hopkins.
Oh, are they doing it the
It's a theater.
Yeah, it's the cinema. Yeah, it's the cinema theater.
No, it's not at the cinema theater. It's a different theater.
Yeah, it's right next to it. So they own both of them.
Oh,
it's a cinema theater, and then they own a bar that's right there too. And I can't remember what it's called. It's off the top of my head. But yeah, it's right off of right on the corner of Medicine Lake and Winnetka, I think.
Yep, real close to there.
Yeah.
So ComedySportz is basically, it's a team building thing that you can use for corporate events, where you bring your crew in, and there's the red team and the blue team, and they can sit in opposite sides, and you got little paddles. And then the comedians, they're improv, kind of like Whose Line Is It Anyways? And they're up there, and there's a red team and a blue team. And they judge, and they figure out who was funny, who wasn't funny. And so it's a team building thing. Mm-hmm. So we're going to one of those. I might go to both of them myself. The one is in Northeast Minneapolis at Strike Theater. And I think that's December 5th. I can't remember the date, but you can go to TwinCitiesBusinessEvents.com and find it.
Cinema Grill, and then right next to Cinema Grill. That's the one.
See if I can find that.
Outtakes Bar and Grill. That's the one.
I can't find it. Let me adjust some things here and give you some input. Twin. CITIES. Twin Cities. BUSINESS. EVENTS.com. You know what that spells? You know what that spells?
If I was able to follow along for all of it, I would.
There you go.
There we go.
There, now you know how to find them. TwinCitiesBusinessEvents.com. That's spelled correctly. TwinCitiesBusinessEvents.com. And you can find those functions. Also, some other event industry functions are there as well. So, also ACME Comedy. They're very busy. That guy, I can't remember the guy's name. My friend Ben Bradford would know. I can't remember his name that runs that thing. But they're always busy with stuff. It's more of a college crew and stuff like that. But
sure,
I want to do some open mic night stuff for the event industry people, because you can get into these things for free, and it's just fun to socialize. And Crooners out in Fridley. I live in Fridley, and Crooners used to be called Shorewood when I was a kid, even when I was adult, but now it's Crooners. It's one of the top rated jazz clubs all over.
Cool.
What else is there to do? You can go to the Walker. I think we mentioned that.
I like the Walker. Yep. The Walker is a great one, even with kids, like especially walking in the sculpture garden outside.
But I think they got golf on the rooftop. You can do mini golf there.
Yeah, you said that. I never knew that.
They had it. Maybe they took it down or something, but they used to have it there.
Yeah. Yeah. I see. I never knew that.
I'm trying to think of some other stuff.
Check it out.
There's the Minnesota Zoo. There's the Science Museum, Minnesota. There's the Children's Museum. There's the
Children's Museum's
Arboretum.
amazing. We love doing the Children's Museum.
Mhm.
The Arboretum's great. Yep. That one's fun. I really like doing that. It's a little harder with the kids. The kids don't sit still for that one, but at least there's plenty of room for them to run around as long as it's not super crowded.
Okay.
Because otherwise they're running into other people and annoying.
Whereas the Science Museum, they're probably preoccupied, or the Children's Museum, they're into it, so you don't have to worry about watching them because they're stationary.
Right. Yeah. Oh, they're pretty easy to watch. Yeah. I mean, they have everything set up in such a way to where there's basically one way in and one way out. So as long as you're kind of keeping an eye on your kids, like there's no way that they're gonna disappear on you. Whereas, you got to worry about that with small children. You turn around for 2 seconds and they run off.
The reason we're bringing up some of these family-friendly events is I have this belief that a lot of people are working from home nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes if they have to go to a function, they can't leave their child because people are busy. So I'm looking for places where businesses can go and they can network instead of your typical happy hour at a brew pub.
Yeah.
And a place you can bring the kids.
Well, even they're starting to get family friendly now.
They are with the dogs and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But the whole alcohol thing, I don't think that's probably pertinent for a kid.
So at night, right, on the weekends, I'm smashing burgers for Parlor Burger, right, which is a famous burger joint. They have some of the best burgers in the state, and what happens is that I'm going to all these different brew pubs because I'm driving the truck. So I go to all these different brew pubs. I've gotten to try a bunch of them, and it's surprising how many of them are actually super family friendly now.
Mm-hmm.
So there was Hackamore. That's one I went to. Last night I was at Wild Minds.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, so that one's cool.
Have you been to Forgotten Star?
I have been to Forgotten Star, not on the Parlor truck, but I know they do it sometimes.
Right. Yeah,
So
that's gotten to be.
cool.
There's another one in Golden Valley called Under Pressure.
One of my favorite places to go is actually it's a meadery. So they make mead there, and it's all set up like old like Viking style. So it's pretty cool.
Where's that?
And that's it's White Bear.
Oh,
yeah, it's White Bear Meadery.
It's out there a ways.
Yeah. So that one's pretty cool. I like White Bear Meadery. That one's a lot of fun. So if you go there, they actually have a bunch of open tables. So it's open like almost like picnic bench type seating for a lot of people. They have some more intimate seating as well if you wanted to do something like that. But for the most part, that's kind of what it's like. And then it's cool. They have this like little corner where they have little those fake plastic axe throwing things that you can do. It's like those old dartboards that aren't dartboards.
With the little pins and it just sticks into it. So it's a little safer.
Yes. And they have that so the kids can throw it around. And then they have this little nook in the corner that has movies that play. They have like some movies there for kids. And then like How to Train Your Dragon. That's like one of the movies that they have. Things like that. Lost your mic.
My microphone. Sorry.
That's because you're all tangled.
That happens. I'm okay. I'm okay now.
All right. Your foot's still tangled around it there.
I'm all good. I'm all good.
All right.
I got a lot of slack.
So,
look at this.
So yeah, then you slacker. so then it's cool because they have this little kids nook in the corner there, and it's got a whole bunch of toys for them to play with, games and all kinds of stuff for the kids, specifically for the kids. It even has a door that shuts and locks from the outside, so you can shut it for the little tiny small children that you need to keep like reined in a little bit more.
Yeah, a corral.
Yeah.
Kitty corral.
Yeah. But you can just sit right there. If you sit right there on that bench in the corner and you have all the kids go in there in the nook and they're playing in the nook, you can sit right there and have fun with your friends playing like, more grown up games. While the little tiny ones are playing in a little corral.
So where else have you been with the family friendly type of event venue?
Trove. I was at Trove. It's pretty wide open. I mean, it's still a bar.
What's Trove?
It's another bar.
Just a bar.
It's down south. Yeah.
It's a brewery?
Yep.
Trove.
It's a brewery. It's a microbrewery. Yep. Yeah, and they have good beer too. I actually, yeah, that's the coolest thing actually about working that food truck is that I get to go to all these places, and basically the agreement is we make food for them, right, for the employees that are there, and we just give them the employees that are there. We just give them food. They let us go there, and then at the end of the night, like they give us beer. So
got it.
Most of the time, you know, like the people who are working there are not really that interested in it. But once in a while, they grab stuff to take home, and I do every time. Every time I go there, I always grab like 2 crowlers so I can try 2 different varieties of their beer, and I take them home, and then I share them with my wife or my brother, and then we sit around. And so I get to try like different breweries from all over. So it's pretty fun.
Do they get to take a couple extra parlor burgers?
If they were to ask me, if they were to say like the other day over at Trove, the principal person there, he had his wife there, and he said, "Hey, can I get something for my wife?" And we gave him something at discount.
You just got to ask, and you get some stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? Where's another place that's not some that's not a brewery? What's an activity that you take the kids to?
Trampoline parks.
There you go. Urban Adventures, I think. Is
Urban
one.
Air.
Urban Air.
Yeah. Yeah, Urban Air is a great one. I actually really like that. I mean, the initial investment is a little bit higher because you have to do, you know, the special socks and all that. And then on top of that, you have to, you know, keep track of them, and they're children, so they're hard to keep track of. No, I meant the socks. Oh. Because they have to have on special socks. So yeah, that's kind of a pain sometimes whenever you have a lot of children, because they don't always
take off their socks.
They don't always leave the clothing in their drawers either. They do this thing where they want to change 24/7, and so they're constantly changing their clothes, especially the girls. They'll change like 3-4 times a day, and they're only home for like 5 hours.
Well, you need an event like that where they can go and try on new clothes.
That would be cool. So that was something pre-COVID I used to do with the older girls, like, you know, I would go like, hey, let's go to the clothing store and let's go try out some outfits. And we would just go and try out outfits for fun. And then COVID hit, and they actually shut down most of the dressing rooms. And at the thrift stores, not very many of them have reopened it. They're like, oh yeah, this is convenient for us.
That's right.
So it kind of sucks on that level.
What
but
else?
It's fun for girls to be able to do that.
What else can you go to?
Let's see.
As a family.
Man, as a family.
How are bringing kids to like a theater type thing?
Oh yeah, so we were talking about the Outtakes Bar and Grill, and right next to it is the Cinema Grill.
Yep.
Right? And the New Hope Cinema Grill is great because of the way that it's seated and everything else, and there's not very many other people there. So the tickets are super cheap. You can buy food while you're there. If you want a beer, they go to the Outtakes Bar and Grill, and they do it on that license because it's owned by the same people. So they just go grab some and bring it back for you. And then at the end, whenever the credits are rolling, what my kids like to do is they like to jump up and jump on the stage that's right in front of the big screen, and then dance on the screen like they're dancing with the characters on the screen. Well, the credits are rolling.
Where's the Ellison Playhouse?
Ellison Playhouse. I haven't done that one.
That's in Hopkins, I think, or Crystal.
Yeah. I haven't done that.
It's in Crystal. You should know.
Ellison Playhouse.
Playhouse.
No. I do know where it is. It's right off of 42nd. Next to it's near the Barber over there, near 42nd and Douglas. Yeah, I do know what you're talking about.
So it's on the way.
I've been there once, but I haven't been there since COVID.
Yeah, well, that's where ComedySportz is doing one of their events.
Oh, cool.
November 30th at Crystal. Then there's another one.
Nice.
December 7th in Northeast Minneapolis.
Oh, another thing that we like to go do is
I think the improv things are maybe family friendly. You might have to check to see if anybody does any questionable material.
see, now that's something I have actually had a difficulty with. So my mom, whenever she used to live out here, we used to go to events that were comedy related, and they were supposed to be family friendly, and I just found that they weren't. And even though they would say family friendly, the overt sexual overtones
There's some
that would
little-
be in some of the
some
stuff,
little,
I would just be like,
insinuations or whatever.
yeah, I just was not super happy about that. So that's hard, because even if they say that it's family friendly and somebody kind of like breaches that, well, now you're stuck.
Mhm.
You're kind of already in a seat.
Yeah.
And my mom's part of the LGBTQ community, and so she had me go to like a ballet that was put on in where was it, in I think it was uptown Minneapolis or something like that. We went to some ballet that was supposed to be there, and it was supposed to be very family friendly, and it started going, and I was like, this is not what I would call family friendly.
Yeah. Well, there are places, I don't know if it's local here, but a clean comedy, and they are. Sometimes they're run by Christian organizations, so they are definitely
that's cool.
clean. Don't have any suggestive type stuff.
Yeah. See, I would do that. Because I like my kids being exposed to comedy that's not just fart jokes, but it's kind of a little hard to do that now.
Fart jokes.
Yeah. Because, they're kids. They love their fart jokes. And it's pretty much poopy, pee-pee, and all in between. And they will go on about it for hours like it's the funniest thing.
There's got to be something else. There's got to be something else.
Right. Exactly. Well, they're 5. One of them is 5. One of them is 3. She just got into the stage where she thinks it's funny, but
well, you got to bring them up so that when they get to be adults, because when guys end up being adults, they're still doing fart jokes.
Yeah, I don't think William will. William's really funny. He's got a great sense of humor.
Okay, let's see, what else is there to do? TopGolf. That's where I met you with Rick and Patrick.
Oh, I love TopGolf. I just think it's overpriced.
It is. But they're full too.
They're always full.
It is. So
if you have a membership there, it's killer. It's awesome. Like, I was talking to Rick about that, and he was telling me about the membership, and basically you get to go there so many times, and you get to bring somebody with you and stuff like that. So the memberships actually are worthwhile there.
Well, that's the way to do it, with a membership, if you're going to do something like that often. But
yeah. I'm not a big golfer, so I don't do that. Frisbee golf is a big one. A lot of people do. I love throwing a Frisbee with my kids. I do not play Frisbee golf. I like it whenever somebody catches it and throws it back to me, instead of having to go run and chase it. Yeah. I can throw it at a basket, and then I walk to go pick it up, and it's like ho-hum. It's not really my thing. I'd rather throw a Frisbee and then have somebody else throw it back to me and me try to catch it in fun ways.
I'm in agreement.
Catch it on your back. Catch it under your leg.
Do a flip.
Oh, I can't do a flip, but yes.
We used to do that. When you throw them high, you can jump up and you can backflip, but it's scary if you're not used to it. Those are the good old days.
Yeah.
We used to play Frisbee a lot.
Oh, yeah. Frisbee's great. It keeps my kids in shape, too. I didn't get to do much of it this year because, obviously, having a 6-month-old child, which is, for the last 6 months.
They can't throw.
The case. Well, no, I meant more along the lines of,
you don't
more along the lines of, it just makes you really exhausted all the time. So
you just get tired.
You're trying to work, and you're trying to, raise a kid and all that kind of stuff, and you have other kids all at the same time. Elizabeth and I right now, we spend most of our time working or cleaning. So, getting breaks from that. Pizza places are a lot of fun. I really enjoy pizza places. Chuck E. Cheese used to be a blast. I don't actually like the way that Chuck E. Cheese changed.
Dave and Buster's. You gone there?
Dave and Buster's is cool, but overpriced. I think their video game systems are just way overpriced. Like if you play a couple of games is really expensive.
The Mermaid over in Mounds View has a real nice air hockey table if you like to play air hockey. And they've got axe throwing there and another
Yeah.
they don't have pinball. They have the video game type stuff. Pinball, probably too much maintenance on the machines.
Pinball is great. I love pinball. I have found a couple of places to play pinball at that I love. I wish I could remember the names off the top of my head, but I can't.
There was one, I don't remember if it was in Minneapolis here or if it was when I lived in Asheville, but that's what they have. There's all sorts of pinball machines. That's all it was, pinball machines.
That's cool. See, I really like pinball machines.
Like
I used to join back in the day.
It was like a museum. It was a pinball museum. So they had some, those things can be very expensive.
Really expensive.
The collectible ones, like Adam's family is expensive.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how expensive they can be. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so, the reason why I keep saying like too expensive is because you have to keep in mind that if I'm going out with my kids, like my oldest kid, Debbie, she's 16. Oh, I shouldn't use names on here of my children. I know my wife won't necessarily like that if I'm naming all of them.
No, don't.
Anyways, so yeah, but the oldest, she's not really hanging out with us very much. I mean, she's 16. She's going through that kind of stuff, right? So she does her own thing. But the younger kids, they all still hang out with us. The oldest boy, he's 13. So he's it's hit and miss when he wants to hang out with us, but that's still a lot of kids. Even if I'm not counting them, that's 5 kids. And one of them would be free at most places, but the other 4 I still have to pay for, so that's 6 people that I'm paying for because it's 2 adults and 4 children. So it's 6 people I'm paying for. So going to something like Dave and Buster's, I could easily drop $400, $500 in a night.
Yeah. Well, maybe if you worked it out where it's a group thing and it was a sponsored event by somebody else, and now you can bring multiple families and go bowling or something. And then you could have a separate section for your teenage kids so they can bring their friends and they're off in their own little thing because that's what teenagers like to do, right?
Yeah. Well, I have to say, I do rather enjoy things like bowling or darts or things like that. Darts, I have not done darts in a lot of years because they get dangerous with small children. But yeah, I'm going to turn off this robot making all this noise right now.
Probably can't hear it. So there's lots of different things that a person could do. I just thought about bowling. I don't know if that's an attraction that a corporate group would want to do, but maybe.
Bowling?
Yeah.
Oh, that's huge. Like bowling is still big. I mean, it's not as big as it was back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but it's still huge.
70s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
Well, Punch Bowl Social has a couple bowling alleys in there.
Yeah.
And then there's also that bocce ball thingy.
Yeah.
Forgotten Star does curling in the winter.
Yeah. Yeah. You can do that at the where is that? It's Plymouth. There's a big park in the Three Rivers Park District in Plymouth that's right near, I want to say 55 in Winnetka.
Go ahead and say it.
Yep, I'm pretty sure it's 55 in Winnetka. So there is the community center over there that's in the middle of this park. And it's cool. They have a climbing area for kids. It costs to get in, but it's rather inexpensive. You just buy it by the package. You get a little discount, and that's not bad at all. So I take my kids there, and they go climb around in there and everything else. And you just have to watch the super busy days because a kid might have an accident, and then you have to worry about your other kid climbing
Band-Aids?
a key.
No, not that kind of accident.
Yeah, that kind of accident. So, but outside they do the bocce ball. They have curling. There's a golf course right nearby. So there's like a whole bunch of things that you can do in there. I'm pretty sure there's frisbee golf. There's a playground, outdoor playground nearby. So there's a lot of stuff to do in that park that's right over there.
Well, what kind of things would you do if, say, for example, you had a babysitter and it was going to take care of all the kids, and you and the wife get to go out and you want to go to a business social thing?
A business?
It'd be a business thing, but it's not networking. It's doing something to do something.
Right.
Activity.
So the meadery I mentioned, I actually like going there and hanging out. Mm-hmm. That's a great place to hang out.
Something to do, not just sit around and talk. Something to do.
Oh, we play games.
So you play board games?
Yeah.
Like Monopoly and Clue?
Well,
chess?
Not those exactly.
Tic-tac-toe?
At the meadery, we were playing worst case scenario last time I was there.
Worst case scenario. I never played it.
Yeah, it's a card game that gives you gives you scenario, right? And then you have to like decide which of the scenarios like are worse. So it's you have to rate them from 1 to 5. And then other people have to guess how you rated them based on how they know you.
Okay. That could be a fun interactive game.
It's fun because sometimes there's like ridiculous things like that you just know would be like, oh, that's gotta be the worst case in the world, right? This has gotta be your number 1 pick.
So that would be
and it ends up being like a number 5 for them. Like, oh, that's not a big deal at all. And you're like, what? I thought you were afraid of heights or something like that. And they're like, oh no, yeah, no. What scares me a lot more is the killer bees or whatever it is that's in there, right?
Yes. I don't like spiders.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, that would be an interesting business type of a thing because a person's personal relationship is different than their business relationship. So you could actually get into a situation like that and learn more about the person as a person when I didn't realize that that's the way you were. I thought you were about this business. Now behind the scenes, oh, you're one of those.
Yeah.
That could be interesting. So is it just a card game?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, there's no piece to move around the board or anything. It's kind of like Cards Against Humanity, which I know you've run across that game, right?
No, I don't play games.
Oh my gosh. All right. That's a game that I've got to get you to play sometime.
Well, I would probably if it was one of our synergy socials and stuff. I don't know. I'm more about the businessy kind of stuff. Social stuff. I don't know if I want to.
My wife is super social, but she likes play. So like, for example, so we went to a gala, right? This is another thing that we did for fun. We went to a gala and the gala was a fundraising for Thrive.
Okay.
So we went there and we did our thing and we had a lot of fun at it and got to meet people there and we were all chit-chatty and made some business contacts and she did a silent auction. She gave a gift card for photography business to the silent auction. And then there was a game there. The game was a ring toss, except it had larger rings rather than the little tiny rings like they use at a lot of carnivals to make it super hard. And then there was a bunch of bottles of alcohol. And it was $5 to play. You get 3 rings, you toss them, and if you hoop the bottle of alcohol, you can go pick a bottle of alcohol to take home.
Got it.
It was part of the game. And and you're only really supposed to play 1, right? You're really only supposed to do 1. But I let her throw mine too. And it was so funny because she thought she was going to be horrible at it. She goes up there with the ring toss and she throws a ring, hoops the bottle, and she wins it on the first try. And then I was like, oh, okay, you can try mine too. Once again, first throw, right on it. She won first time.
So your wife is lucky like that. She just seems to get
super lucky. Yeah, Elizabeth is super lucky. But yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that we like to do for fun. We like to go out. We do like to play some games, but we really like the social aspect of things. We just like to sit around and chat with people like you and I do right now.
Yeah. I agree. I think it'd be fun to create little pockets of people to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But going to the alcohol thing, I'm a non-drinker. I don't poo-poo I don't diss the people that do want to consume that thing. But there's a friend of mine, Jen, I forgot her last name. It used to be called Gilhoy, but now it's Virali. And she does non-alcoholic drinks. She teaches about like the mocktails and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I wonder why there's not more of that. Because you think there's still a pretty good profit margin in a mocktail if you're charging like $12 for a margarita.
They have a business that only does mocktails in California that is booming. It's huge, and it made national news. And they're talking about opening up one here. I know a couple of other places that do serve some of that. Most of the bars now serve non-alcoholic options.
I don't know. I don't go to bars much, but Forgotten Star doesn't have that much. They've got a few things. Like
a few things?
Yeah, like canned sodas and stuff like that.
Is it the Northern, what's the name of that business that's been getting into all these microbrews? Northern
Stacks?
No, Great Northern or Northern something, but soda company. And they make a bunch of natural sodas.
I'm not sure.
So they make natural cola.
I would like to have some of the stuff that's extravagant, with the whipped cream on top and the umbrella and the tall glass and all that kind of stuff, like a dreamsicle with no alcohol in it or something.
Yeah. There's that's another thing that my wife and I like to do. It has alcohol involved, but you do not have to participate. It's just the ambience that's fun. We like to go to speakeasies.
Yeah, there's some of those. They're hard to find. You got to be in the know to find those places. I don't know, somebody wouldn't.
We've gone to a few.
Creating a directory of those would not be a good thing.
No, we don't want a directory of those.
It's all underground.
I would actually have a lot of fun doing one where you have to basically, you hear about it by calling a number, right? So they give you a number. They say, hey, call this number, and it's a roving one. And then what happens is that you call the number and they go, hey, so-and-so's pizza or something like that, right? So you have no idea what it is. And then they have to give you the keywords. And then they go, okay, we're meeting Friday night, 5 o'clock at the blah, 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 and then you go there and a bus shows up to pick you up. You park there and then a bus shows up. You get inside the bus. It has blacked out windows, so you don't know where you're going. And then you go to an undisclosed location where there's like a speakeasy party going on.
I like that.
And it would be a lot of fun. I would love to do something like that.
I want to know more of those. And I'd like to find more that are non-alcoholic or mild alcoholic. I'm not looking for some crazy party. But I
would love it where there was like options, where there was a lot of options. So people who didn't want to drink could do the mocktails. People who wanted to drink could do like the actual cocktails. And then you could have people who wanted to consume like THC. You could do them, with cannabis cocktails, right? What do you call them? Cannatails?
Is that something that happens? I'm kind of curious. Do they have that in clubs now where there's a THC type bar?
Yeah. At every single brewery that I go to, there's THC options now. I actually, because the place I was at, Wild Minds,
but THC.
THC.
So I can get a little buzz.
You can get a little buzz going, yep. Yeah, and they're really good too. They have them totally mixed into various different flavors. The place Wild Minds that I was at last night, they have it's a coffee shop, microbrewery, and they have their own THC drinks that they make there. And the THC drinks that they make there are very fruity, so it tastes like you're having a cocktail. They're really good.
That might be an interesting topic for us to talk about is how that I'm trying to stay in my event industry thing, but there has been talk about utilizing alcohol in a business type of event. the legal ramifications with it if someone's at your corporate event and they get in trouble? That would be relevant too with the THC type stuff, I'm assuming.
It would. So my understanding of the way that it has to go, and obviously I'm not a bartender, but you have to have that, whatever that certification is, to be able to serve alcohol. As long as you have that certification to serve alcohol, even if you buy all the alcohol yourself and you supply the bar, right? You just have to have somebody there who's certified to be able to serve the alcohol. And as long as you have somebody there who's certified to serve the alcohol and has their own licensure to be able to do it, and they have their own insurance, then it's fine. You can supply the alcohol. It's a private event. They don't have to worry about anything. They just have to, they're certified, so it goes under their license.
You mean
And
like
now you're
dram
just
shop?
paying them to be there.
You mean dram shop insurance? We don't know.
No, I don't know, but so whenever I was on the city council, we were talking about like how that whole thing runs.
Are you saying that the alcohol is the same as the THC because it's a mood altering consumption?
Yeah, that's why they have them at the bars, because it has to be 5 milligrams per serving. So they just have a can with 10 milligrams and they have 2 servings in it.
Okay.
And then 10 milligrams is going to be okay for a lot of people. My wife, that's actually a little bit too much for her.
Where they don't get crazy and drive home?
Well, there's actually, so that's an interesting subject, because there's actually no evidence that they've had tried to make evidence of it. Like they've actually done studies on it, like they do with alcohol, of driving and consuming of THC.
Mm-hmm.
And the results are that there is no appreciable deficiency in your stop time or your driving or anything like that, like there is with alcohol. Now, I will not, as I slap my mic, I will not consume and drive at all, because that's just me. I don't believe in driving if I feel like I could be impaired at all. So I mean, I don't even care if I've had like a drink and I can barely feel that initial kind of like, ooh, I can feel like I can be more social type thing, like some people feel.
Yeah.
Like even if I'm feeling that, I'm like, I might be impaired, so I'm not doing anything. So
well, I noticed with the legalization of marijuana that it seems like a lot of people kind of wait at the red light and it turns green and they're kind of slow on the pedal.
But again, there's no evidence. They did a bunch of studies on it because they were trying to say that was the case. They wanted to know, so they actually did a national, study of it, trying to see if it's something that they needed to figure out. Like, do we need to figure out to test this and how we're going to deal with this, because driving while impaired is a bad thing, blah, blah, blah. You're far more likely to be impaired driving while distracted. So if you're driving while distracted because you're messing with your cell phone, or you're listening to somebody talk to you, or there's arguing going on in your car because you're a parent of 7 children, you're far more likely to have a problem than if you drove stoned.
I can see that, because maybe when you're stoned, you're more attentive.
Yeah. And if you're too stoned, you ain't driving anywhere just because you don't want to leave the couch. So there's that too.
Well,
if somebody's too stoned, they're going to be like, I ain't going anywhere. The keys may be turned on, but my foot doesn't want to work the pedal. I'm just going to lay here with the heat going.
So you're going to be late for your meeting. So if that's something that you want us to talk more about, why don't you leave some comments on here? It's an interesting topic. The impairment, whether it be alcohol, THC, or any other medicinal, whatever.
That's the only medicinal thing that I know of that causes a mood altering effect that's like drinking or cannabis or something like that, where you actually feel a decent shift. Not like caffeine. I mean, obviously caffeine is a mood altering substance and nicotine is a mood altering
Well,
substance.
that's
too,
an
but it's
interesting
not-
point, though. You got all these things that are mood altering.
It's not head changing though.
It's not head changing.
Yeah, it doesn't give you a head change. It doesn't shift your state of perception. Maybe that's a good way to put it. Where cannabis shifts your state of perception.
I'm trying to get that into my head because I was wondering if maybe if someone's all caffeinated, maybe their reaction time is too more jittery. Would it be? If all of a sudden they got to turn and then they...
Yeah. I bet you if you're too highly caffeinated, you would probably be a worse driver.
I saw a video of a guy who was driving a truck, big truck, and he went to reach for something. He goes to reach and he slipped a little bit and he grabbed his steering wheel and pulled his steering wheel and he wiped out. So any kind of distraction like that, I'm wondering if that could make, if you're all jittery on caffeine, it's like, maybe, I don't know. Not that I want to ruin everybody's Starbucks and everything, but you can't be drinking that Starbucks in your car. But please be safe. How's that?
Well, they're all considered to be mood or mind altering substances.
You did it. 1201. 1201. Oh, by the way, here's a little commercial. Dun, 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 dun.
You put it up on the screen.
Nah, I don't got control. I can't reach over there. I'm too lazy. And I'm not consuming any cannabis. I'm just too lazy.
Yep.
So we're at 12 o'clock. This is an interesting conversation. We did it again. It's hard to believe that I can talk for an hour on something like this.
It's easy.
That's because you talk a lot.
It's because I talk a lot.
I'm a listener. I'm a listener.
Yeah. I bet you if you go back and you watch the whole video and you calculate all the talking points and who talked and on everything at various different points,
if you measured it,
you'll find that we were pretty equal. I think you will find that we were
I don't
pretty
want to
darn
take the
equal.
time to do that, but if you want to, I don't think so. Like I'm with my friend Ben Bradford. He loves to tell stories. So you get on the phone and he's talking. Yeah, I opened up for Joan Rivers at the blah, blah, blah. So I'm just listening. It's like I just grab my phone. Go ahead, Ben, talk. Okay, I'm going to sign this off. We did it again. Dun, dun, dun. Peace, love, and happiness. Enjoy the rest of your day.
See y'all later.
Thanks for hanging out with us at Synergy Cafe. Bye.